I have the second member. Hi.
Excellent. Just what I was looking for.
Acquire your services. Oh, not this guy again. Do such a great job with Sunder. I want you to make me Wraithguard. Absolutely not. And for all of you keeping score at home, here's a list of everything I use to make this project. Wraithguard is another good old-fashioned foam smithing project. And like the previous projects I've done using foam, this one starts with a pattern. Katura graciously drew up another pattern for me using references from the Creation Club and screenshots from the game. I printed off the pattern and got to tracing and cutting. I used various sizes of foam, laying them on top of each other to help bring out all the little details around this legendary gauntlet. I also used my rotary tool to sand and carve out some of the inlay details and to round off the square edges of the foam. The bulk of the time spent on this project was actually all the little details. There was quite a bit of sanding, shaping, and cutting out little squigglies. This was another project where I was able to challenge myself and push myself out of my comfort zone. I can never stress enough how important it is to push yourself through those tough moments. Every project is going to have that point where you hate it and you want to throw it away. And that's where you have to reach back and pull up a little bit something more and push yourself through to the end. And once you've done that, you'll feel better about yourself and you'll have unlocked a new skill for a future project. Now that the gauntlet was sanded and shaped the way I wanted, it was time for painting. For foam projects, my go-to primer is Plasti-Dip. However, the pieces on my knuckles and fingers were primed using PlatFX Flexible Primer. Given the nature of this gauntlet, meaning I'm going to be wearing it, not just any paint would work. Paint needed to flex as well. PlatFX paint is the perfect paint for this kind of a project. To achieve the bronze, vintage gold color you find on all Dwemer artifacts, I started with a base coat of copper, and then went over that with a light gold. Okay, well, we are going to grind this project to a screeching halt. See this little squiggly here? Yes, it is fine, it does look okay, but I am just not happy with it. I was looking at some screenshots of the game and found that, well, it's not really a cut piece of metal, it's actually something more of you would find from like a welding or a soldering process. So, I'm going to rip this sucker off and redo the whole thing. To achieve the look I wanted, I used a technique that I also used on Sunder, and that was using some quick seal to kind of mimic a welded joint. So I traced that squiggly using quick seal, let it cure overnight, and sanded it smooth the next day. I also took this opportunity to re-sand some other spots that were still a little rough. Final step was just to repaint the areas that I sanded off. Now I can finally move this project into the weathering phase. The weathering for Wraithguard was a little more of a simple weathering process than some of my past projects. A brown wash with a gold oil brusher for the highlights. I also brushed in some brown and yellow weathering pigments to add a little dirt and sand into the crevices. The last thing to do? Well, let's take a look at the final result. have Wraithguard. As you can see on my lovely model over here.
Your craftsmanship is exquisite.
Can you let me speak for 1 second?
A mere mortal such
I got
as
a thing
yourself
to do.
doesn't deserve something this good. Plus,
This is why I don't
is
do
the
commissions,
last
okay?
piece so I can achieve ultimate
worst
victory and
customer
realize my true potential.
He's not even paying me.
Your reward,
He hasn't even said
I'll allow
thank
you to live
once.
in my new reality.
He stared over me the
Give you
whole
that.
time, overbearing.
But this is now time.
Well, that's Wraithguard. There it goes. See you guys in the next video. You can say thank you!